in January 2023, we're launching a new program called Edible for Kids. It's actually going to be in the URL. So we're in Colorado, so that's not going to sound unusual to anyone, right? But other school districts in other states, if you say edible for kids, it doesn't really give you the right impression of what you're doing for their children. So, like with our new TV show called Eat, Drink, Think TV, which is one of our taglines, of course, Eat, Drink, Think. So this is going to be called Eat, Drink, Think Kids. So we are going to have a curriculum, and it's going to be a gathering place for families and teachers and kids to just be healthier and to address how it's going to be better for them and better for the planet. One of the things about Gen Z that we've been talking about quite a lot today, actually, is it's the first time in history that a generation has the power to influence prior generations. So Gen Z is the first generation that is impacting the decisions of generations that came before them. So their parents and grandparents, they now have influence over them. So if we don't think these kids are important, we're crazy. They're very influential, and we need to be paying attention more. So we have 20 million readers, as we mentioned, nationwide. Why not have 20 million school kids who pay attention to edible and learn the same kind of values and align values with our content, just like other readers have been doing? So anyway, I'm going to now turn this over to Ethan from Teton Waters Ranch. He's the Vice President of Sustainability there, to let you know about Teton's big news program coming up. Yay.
Well, thank you, Tracy. What a distinct pleasure to be here, and honestly, this event, just from what we've seen today, what an impact, right? The speakers, the topics, just the attendance, it really showcases the impact of edible and its impact on the broader culinary and food supply chain communities. Looking back on 20 years of the edible journey, it's so clear and meaningful how important it is for people to understand and appreciate food. Not only food in itself for what it is, but its impact on our health and its impact on our planet. I want to take a moment to reflect on what 20 years really means. I've done some math, and after some careful calculus, 20 years is 2 decades. I had to carry the one, when I was dividing, anyway, I won't get into that. Broadly speaking, 20 years is one generation. In 20 years' time, you can have a child and see it through to adulthood. In today's world, they might still be living at home, but technically still an adult. In terms of broader humanity, 20 years is the blink of an eye. It was about 20,000 years ago that humans started to develop language. And it took another 20,000 years for humans to destroy those languages altogether and replace them with unintelligible acronyms. Yes, all my BFFs out there, you are responsible for this. And BTW, I do understand what you kids are saying about me, and OMG, it's not very nice. I could go on like this for hours. I'm really hip. I'm hearing a little bit of LOL out there, not much, okay. Fair enough, tough crowd. Anyway, 20 years, it's both nothing and also so much. So what will things look like 20 years from now? It's helpful to look back to see where we've come from to better understand where we're headed. When I look back at where we were as a society 20 years ago, the organic food movement was just in its infancy. The word regenerative was not in people's vocabulary. Gluten-free was never something you saw on menus. But people were starting to recognize an emerging health concern around obesity. About 20 years ago, the book Fast Food Nation hit the shelves, and the movie Super Size Me was a box office success. People were starting to pay attention to what was in their food and where their food came from. 20 years ago, 1 in 10 children were considered obese per a clinical definition. Today, that number is 1 in 5. 1 in 5 children in the US today is clinically obese. Fast forward another 20 years following this trend, and we'll see a nation in which almost 50% of our children are clinically obese. What will schools' sports programs look like? Healthcare costs for our nation will be through the roof. Life expectancy will decline. And the quality of that life of our children will lead, health problems and all. Brings me tremendous pause and ultimately tremendous sadness. At the heart of all this is food. Our bodies are built to tell us when to eat and how much. When dehydrated, you get thirsty. When you're craving something salty, it's because your body is telling you it needs salt. Elaborate marketing campaigns have driven us to focus on macronutrients, proteins, carbohydrates, fats. And most modern day diets are based on just that. Right now it's cut out the carbs, eat as much protein as you want. That's the flavor of the day. 20 years ago, it was more around cutting out fats. But the focus on micronutrients has been lacking. Children in particular, and this was already talked about on some of the panels, and I love that introduction to the topic. But children in particular are really susceptible to this. When they're hungry, when their body needs something, they just eat more. Their growing bodies need more. And as they eat food that bring the calories, but not the right micronutrients, the hunger persists. Their bodies are not satisfied and just call for more food. And their waistlines, unfortunately, are sad evidence of that. We need to work together to change this. Yes, this goes back to how we grow and raise our food, and everyone here understands that. And everyone here has a responsibility to do something with this knowledge. For Teton Waters Ranch, we're here to announce today our effort to drive some impact. As Tracy already mentioned, we are the title sponsor of the Edible for Kids program, or whatever we've named it now. I do understand the challenges around Edible for Kids, and good catch on the marketing side. But in addition to that, we're here to announce today the launch of a program that we are calling Teton Taste Buds. Starting today, we will be partnering with school districts across the nation to upgrade their meals to be more nutrient dense. We'll be upgrading school cafeteria meals from commodity meats to nutritious grass-fed beef. No sugar, no artificial ingredients, no fillers, quality grass-fed beef. Robust nutrition to satisfy and to nourish growing bodies. We're not looking to overhaul what people eat. Kids love hot dogs, and that's not going to change. We're just looking to drive up the nutrition of that hot dog. We're looking to educate kids on what they eat and get them into good habits early on. Teton Taste Buds is simple. We will raise money through community partners to adopt individual school districts and upgrade their protein offerings to grass-fed at no additional cost to them. We'll be working with restaurants to upgrade a school meal for every Teton hot dog they sell. We'll be working with retailers to do the same for every pack of hot dogs they sell. And we'll be working with companies and individuals like you, coast to coast, who believe in this effort to help improve the nutritional profile of the foods our kids eat and to improve the planet through regenerative agricultural practices. To kick this program off, Teton Waters Ranch is funding the first upgrade ourselves. We have adopted our local school district in Loveland, Colorado, Thompson School District, and we've upgraded their hot dog to grass-fed for the entire coming school year. As I think Mary Berry was just saying, local solutions that work locally, that's what we're looking to prove first, and then we're looking to expand this on a nationwide footprint. Our commitment does not end with Thompson Valley Schools. We're extending this offer to upgrade school district lunches to any community nationwide. TWR, Teton Waters Ranch, will be doing this at zero profit. The modest gap between our hot dogs at zero profit and the commodity offerings is the gap we are needing help from the community to close. Again, that offer is open to all communities nationwide. We know we won't solve all of our nation's challenges with this one program, but we believe that working together as a community, if we all step up and do what's in our wheelhouse, the collective impact will change a generation. Let's spend the next 20 years on fixing agriculture and driving health and nutrition back into our future generations.
And now this is Jeff Trepashin, the CEO of Teton, to finish off with some numbers for us that are easy to understand. And then
Thank you.
I'm going to
Thank
say
you.
something right after you. So.
Okay. So I'll have to do the numbers thing, because if anybody that's ever worked with me knows that numbers matter. And these numbers matter more than most. So I'll give you a couple of them, and then I'll tell you a quick story about Temple Grandin, which will be here with you tomorrow. And I'll talk to you as a father and a grandfather for a second, and then I'll let you out of here. So first, numbers matter. There's 13,800 school districts in the United States. Just under 100,000 schools. Average school district has 7 schools and 4,000 children. So using Ethan's numbers, in 20 years, we will have 55,000 kids at school age, 55 million kids at school age. 27 million of them will be clinically obese. Think of what that means from health. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, asthma, and joint issues, inflammation. And so now the Temple story. So years ago, Temple's written our protocols over the years at various companies, and I was sitting having lunch with her, and she's telling me a story about working with a large company. And then I kind of wrinkled my nose, and she looked at me and she said, "Oh, I can't work with a big company?" And I said, "Well, And she said, "So I can only work with the really good companies. Is that what you're telling me? The ones that already do the right things?" She goes, "Think about one tiny step that a large company can make to make a big difference." And I thought about it. I realized how foolish I was and how smart she is. And I said, that's what we're facing now. We're facing something that looks so big that every one of you is going, "Wow, what can I do?" And I would say, well, you can do something. And you already do. If you're in this room, you already do a lot. So I'll ask you to do one more thing. Between now and when you land or go home, figure out how to support some aspect of Edible for Kids. Whether it's a school district in your own neighborhood, whether it's a product that you think fit into that school lunch program that you can help upgrade, because it's an education program. We've talked earlier today and some yesterday with the publishers about what we can do to raise things. And we have to talk about raising the consciousness and education of a next generation. We have to peer into their school lunch. We have to say to them, you need an appetite that's a little different, that you like foods that are a little different, so that 20 years from now, it's not 1 in 2, nor 1 in 5. Let's see if we can peel that back to 1 in 10. Because that's worth doing. So now as a grandfather, how many people are grandparents in this room? Please stand up. Please stand up. How many people are a parent in this room? Please stand up. How about an aunt or an uncle? How about someone that's childish? the point is this: when you're standing there for that second, it's not about 4,000 kids in a school district. It's about the kid that was in your mind. We all know that kid. We all have one or live next to one. And this group, more than any that I know, and I've been doing this for a long time, has the ability to change the arc of that education. So I strongly encourage you, please make a difference. Please do one thing when you get back home. Thank you very much.
So, and we're really happy to say that since the Teton is based in Loveland, Colorado, it's part of Ashley Edible Denver's territory, and Ashley's really on board to help with the program. So we love this partnership between Edible and Teton. We're really proud of it. And I didn't tell Ethan or Tripp this yet, but I recently moved to a very rural county in southern New Mexico, Grant County. I think New Mexico, by the way, is about the 48th state in the level of food insecurity in the country. We have more kids going home hungry after school than almost any other state in America. So we have decided we are going to adopt the Grant County School District. So, mainly because I know that Stephanie and Walt are going to help me. Yay, Edible New Mexico. So anyway, we will be talking about this a lot more with our publishers. There's lots of ways to get involved, lots of ways to spread the word, but let's do this now so that 20 years from now when someone else is standing here, we're not going to say that 4 out of 5 kids are obese and in bad health.